Andrea's just found the Ximungwe Female seconds after she had caught and killed an impala. She's currently trying to drag it up the banks of the Musha Bend. So we wanted to try and get there in time to see her dragging it, and hopefully before any hyenas come and steal it. It's incredible to see her strength. This impala is probably double her size and she's able to drag it around with relative ease. It's probably a bit too heavy for her to hoist now. She's going to want to empty out some of the stomach contents and make it a little bit lighter, feeding on a little bit of it before she then is able to hoist it up into a tree. And what we're going to want to see her doing is starting to feed on the rump, because that's easy access to some meat, and then from there she'll most likely open up the intestines. Eating tail. Leopards are pretty fussy eaters. She'll start to pluck out some of the fur. She doesn't really want to eat that because she can't digest the keratin in the fur. And then you'll see her starting to feed using the back molars in her teeth, the carnassials, and those act like the blades of a pair of scissors, and she'll slice through the skin, which then opens up all of the entrails. What she wants to do is just feed on as much of this as possible before any hyenas or other predators come into the area. Things she's going to be looking for is the heart, liver, lungs, kidney, the spleen, because that's packed with a lot of nutrients. Once she's eaten some of those, she'll most likely remove all of the stomach contents and intestines, because that's a lot of extra weight which she isn't able to feed on or at least digest the plant matter. From there, hopefully the carcass will be a bit lighter, and she's going to try and drag it up into one of the trees nearby, because that's going to get it out of the reach of hyenas. We do know she's got a young cub, probably kept somewhere close by here, which she's going to want to then go and collect and bring across to feed on this carcass. And as long as it's on the ground, there's a huge risk to her and her cub, so by taking it up into the tree, that then secures the meal for the next few days. So we don't want to hang around here for too much longer. We'll just stick around, see if she starts to feed quite a bit, and then as soon as it starts getting dark, we'll leave her here, hoping that she can then take it up into a tree, and we can come back tomorrow morning to find her with the kill hoisted and hopefully the cub on site. This afternoon we set off with no particular intention, and we've come across a pretty large herd of elephants. So we're just going to spend some time here before we carry on and see what else we can find. It's an incredibly unique experience having a massive herd of elephants like this all around us, being in amongst the herd. And it was pretty much in an instant. We didn't hear anything or see anything, but all of a sudden the elephants got very agitated. We know their sense of hearing is unique in that they can hear a completely different wavelength of sound to us. It's far beyond our audible range. They often feel those vibrations through their feet, as well as they've got an incredibly keen sense of smell. So something set them off around here. We're not too sure exactly what it is, but they've all moved on over to a large waterhole off to our left. Could potentially be another elephant or a herd of elephants in the area that could have also potentially smelt a predator. Although they're not really at risk to most of the predators out here, they still do get themselves quite worked up and would rather drive the threat away instead of hanging around to see how it all plays out. An incredible way to start off the afternoon. It's not often you get to sit with a huge herd of elephants with them surrounding us completely. So we're on our way across to one of the Birmingham Males who's looking a little bit worse for wear. We're trying to get ourselves across there to see what's happening. We've just got a puncture, so we just need to quickly get the jack and the spare wheel off the back here so we can get across there before he crosses into Mala Mala. Okay, job done. Okay, we just managed to change the tire. We can hear the lions calling in the distance. Hopefully they haven't crossed the boundary just yet. So we changed the tire as quickly as we could, but we weren't quite quick enough to get across here. We just got a fleeting glimpse of one of the Birmingham males crossing across the boundary into Mala Mala. He appears as though he's the healthy or fitter looking one. And there are some lions calling a bit further across there, so maybe it's his brother that's not in such a good shape and he's moving across there to go and help him. After hearing some lions calling, we've come across to find one of the Birmingham males. But it's been a very short, brief sighting before he's crossed into Mala Mala, but incredible watching him walking through some of these big open clearings. We're still looking very healthy. His brother is not too far away from here, so let's see what state he's in. He's got a gash on his face here, but that looks like a bit of a superficial wound from the competition at a carcass. So nothing too life-threatening. It doesn't look as though he's been in any further conflicts. He just started grooming and yawning as we got here, so very likely he may get up and follow his brother across. But he's actually just walked about 50 meters or so and settled down again. His back legs are looking very skinny. He's starting to see his ribs, so his condition is definitely deteriorating. Lions are resilient animals, and although he's looking skinny and not in the best condition now, it's going to take a lot more than just a bit of hunger to get rid of this male. Especially with his brother around, he's got the support, and they'll try and spend a lot of time with the Ensevu pride. And with that, if he's able to get a few extra meals in, his condition will bounce back. However, males, when they get to the age of about 10 and 12, if they're not taken out by a rival male or injured in a hunt or a fight, often you can then start to see their condition deteriorate due to organ failure, such as liver or kidney failure, and then you'll start to see them becoming a lot skinnier, and eventually they'll then die off. For him, we have no idea. We could probably just put it down to old age at the moment. It's not down and out for him just yet, so we'll follow him closely, and hopefully over the next few weeks he can bounce back, but we'll keep you updated as we go. Today we spent the entire afternoon at the wild dog den. The pups having grown a significant amount, and I know we mentioned this last week, but this week their confidence is through the roof. They're venturing a lot further from the den than I've ever seen before, and following the adults off probably 20, 30, sometimes even 40 meters from the den, which is brave. And although yes, they have the support and the security of the adults around the den when they are here, it's still the fact that the pups are coming out at their own will. So you've noticed that there's only been 6 pups left. We're not too sure exactly what's happened to the other 3. We've scoured the camera trap for any sign of what could have happened to the other 3, but there's absolutely nothing there for us to go with. So it's going to be a mystery for now. But what could have potentially happened is some competition amongst the pups. The weaker, slower may have then been outcompeted by the older ones, or you could have had a bit of conflict within the pack that may have ended up in some of them getting injured, or we could have had an intruder, which would have been the likes of hyena, a leopard, or a lion, with them roaming further and further afield from the den. So it's unsure at this stage, but super sad that they're down to the 6 last pups. We just hope that this pack is able to provide for these youngsters and keep them safe, so that they're able to grow up and boost the numbers within the pack. It's still the fact that the pups are coming out at their own will, spending a lot of time outside of the den, actually resting up on the mound where some of the adults are, and not retreating into the burrow or the den in order to sleep or rest. That's what they were doing in the past, and they would only come out when the adults would call them out. So being able to just sit here and actually have them out the entire afternoon has been amazing. And it appears as though the rest of the pack has gone off hunting. They I believe they were successful this morning. They came back and helped feed the rest of the pack, but some of them are still looking pretty hungry this afternoon, so they've all gone off. And I guess with her now, she needs to be very alert because these pups are venturing further from the den. She needs to make sure that there's nothing sneaking up on them. If they see any of these pups, they're guaranteed to try and kill them. And so she, or the guard, or the babysitter needs to be paying very strict attention so that if anything does come across, she can give off an alarm, which then tells all of these pups to get back into the den as quickly as possible. It's almost one of those sightings where you don't really need to say too much. Well, you don't really need to say too much. The wild dogs are doing everything for us, and you can actually just sit back and enjoy the show or the spectacle that these pups are putting on for us.